Well, welcome. This is Dr. Joe Connor, the Connor Bubble, and we are really excited for you to join us. What we're going to be talking about is the sea. I went on a very fantastic boat trip on Saturday, June the 22nd, with the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. The program was called Catalina Above and Below, and we want to talk about that. We have some very interesting segments about that. But before we talk about the trip on the boat, I want to alert you to some of the most exciting developments in marine science in my lifetime in Southern California, at least in the Los Angeles area. And that has to do with this new development called AltaSea. It's A-L-T-A-S-E-A. We're going to be showing you a segment in a moment where you're going to see a panoramic view of the dock of Port 1 in Los Angeles, where it's going to be transformed, and it's going to be able to see where they're going to be building up a really exciting marine biology center with a lot of international implications. And I have here a little thing about the AltaSea vision I want to share with you, their vision statement. AltaSea will unite global marine research, education, industry, and community in a 28-acre campus in the Port of Los Angeles to collaborate on innovative solutions in an urban environment or urban ocean environment for universities, government agencies, international partners, entrepreneurs, school groups, families, and visitors. And AltaSea offers a sea of opportunity. So if you want to get involved with this, how much are we talking about? 28 acres, $500 million. You're talking about an opportunity that will not come in probably my lifetime in terms of opportunities in the marine environment here in Southern California. And they have such an opportunity to be so diverse, and I'm encouraging you, the regular viewers of the Connor Bubble and your family and friends, to get involved. Go to the website altasea.org and get a lot of information and get in the queue. Get on the mailing list, find out about job opportunities, find out about how to get your school and your church lined up for tours. And we're going to be showing you a segment. It runs about 2 minutes that gives you a panoramic view of the place that exists. And we also have footage of how it looks now, and then we can be able to see that transformation as well. So when the engineers are ready, they can queue up and run that segment. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about the AltaSea and to see how we can encourage you to get involved. Well, as you can see from that little brochure where I gave you a little panoramic view of the Alta C campus, there's a lot that's going to be going on. And one of the nice things about this particular project, it's only been announced a week. And so it gives you an idea to get involved in the ground floor. So often in the urban environment and in the minority community, you get things really late. Here we have a chance, the regular viewers of the Connor Bubble, to look at this particular opportunity before it really gets off the ground. So I encourage you to get involved with Alta C, and we're going to, that's Alta's ALTASEA, and we want you to get involved. If you go to the website, altac.org, or you go to the LA Harbor website, and you'll be able to get a lot of really useful information and how you can get involved and the opportunities that are there for you. And the next segment, what we're going to be looking at, is a series of 5 or 6 little interesting clips and loop-ins relating to the trip I took on the boat with the Catalina Above and Below, sponsored by the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. My marine biology students at Pasadena City College have been going to the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium since 1994, and we've been taking video footage of that whole LA Harbor area, and we have some of the best historical documentation, video documentation of how the port has been transformed in all the building that's been going on and bringing the rail lines on out into the harbor, building the islands. We have footage of them building those islands out there in the LA Harbor. It's really exciting, and we're making that footage available to the various centers around the LA Harbor. And so what we're going to be doing is looking at little segments about what's going on in the ocean. When we took the trip on Saturday, the 22nd of June, 2013, we left Port Sacal in San Pedro and took a boat out into the harbor, and we're going to be seeing different segments. And so if we're going to queue up different segments, I'm going to give you a little lead in. And so one of the things we're going to see is, you may know or may not know that certain fish have what's called swim bladders. And this helps them to keep neutrally buoyant in the water, so they don't have to swim to stay at a certain depth in the water. So they have little air sacs in their body that they can adjust slowly as they go up and down in the water column. But when you catch a fish and you bring them up very fast, the pressure on their body decreases, and then their swim bladder expands. And then what you're going to see is how scientists try to relieve the stress on the internal organ of 2 different fish. One is a Garibaldi, beautiful goldfish, which happens to be the California state fish. So we're going to look at this segment and show you how a scientist tries to save the life of these fish by puncturing their swim bladders, let the bubbles of air escape. So if the engineers could cue that up.
What does that do?
Well, when you bring them up so quickly, the air in the swim bladder expands because
Oh,
got a small shark, huh? Horn shark. Yeah. So I'm sort of pushing it, just squeezing the air out. He'll be much happier that way. Rock crabs. Right here. They're beautiful fish. This is about the northern part of their range. And more tropical. This is much more warm water fish.
This air ladder, is that fairly big, so you can kind of punch anywhere near a fin?
No, it's probably... Take the pectoral fin and lay it back down right there.
Well, you can see that the delicate technique of removing that air pressure, it can be very significant for the fish. In fact, if we bring them up too fast from too great a depth, some of the fish will actually die. And so this is something that we try to avoid when we wanted to save the fish for observation or put in an exhibit. The next segment you're going to see is my good buddy, Mike Schad, who happens to be the director of the aquarium, the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. We've worked together since 1983 when I was doing a postdoc, finishing up my postdoc at Cal State Long Beach. He was one of the technicians at Long Beach. He was the computer guru on the campus. In fact, Mike and I both own a historic or classic Osborne computer. And so we have those computers. One of the first little small microcomputers was put out by a gentleman named Osborne. And so we were joking about that particular computer. So you're going to see Mike having a good time. He was collecting samples. He was scuba diving with a team of other 3 other divers collecting various samples. And we're going to look at that. And then what we'll do is have the engineers roll Mike's clip, and then we'll also go and see starfish and how a starfish keeps the top of his body clean from algae, and you're going to see how they do that. So if we want to roll the 2 segments, one with Mike Schad, director of the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium, and about the starfish, where Larry is sharing information on how they protect themselves from growth of algae on the top of a starfish, which I think you'll find quite exciting.
Mike's going to show how to climb out. Expert.
The expert.
Got him on camera.
The expert, you're right there.
It was going so well.
Here, we'll do it again.
Okay, do it again. I got you. I got it rolling here.
Okay, I got you. That's what happened.
Come on, show us that expert maneuver again.
Oh wow, look at her. She changed color. Giant what now?
Turbid snails, those are giant turbid snails. See all the stuff growing on it? Look over here. Clean. They have on top here microscopic pinchers called metacellaria. And what they do is anything lands on it, what they'll do is they take it, pick it off, and just toss it off, and cut it into whatever. Put your hand out like this, with your arm out, and we'll show you the metacellaria. How that works.
I think they might have gone through the...
What it does is grabs the hair.
Well, as you can see, what we want to do in the Connor bubble is get you right there where the action is. This is a sample of some of the things we want to do is bring you more live footage, things that we can loop in from the field. And we're going to be showing you some other marine biology segments. The next one we're going to be showing you has to do with some baby birds. Now, birds are really cute, but some of the things you have never seen baby seagulls. And we were fortunate on this trip as we were right off the shore of Catalina, an area called Bird Rock. We were able to look at some baby seagulls. You'll see a couple of them. And then also we're going to see some seals sort of sunning themselves on a buoy. And so you're going to see that particular segment as well. These 2 segments, the baby birds and seals up close, just sunning themselves as most of us like to do on the beach as well. So if the engineers can cue those 2 segments up, then we'll show the audience that as well.
Build a nest, they lay their eggs in a little depression on the ground, but they more than likely have a nest right there.
What keeps the gulls, the other gulls eating the baby gulls?
The parents.
There's one climbing up
Yeah, that's a prickly pear.
Now, as you're looking at these different segments, I want to read you a segment of the purpose of the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium, which will tie the different segments together. It says here, discover the underwater world of Southern California. The Cabrillo Marine Aquarium engages all visitors in education, recreation, and research to promote knowledge, appreciation, and conservation of the marine life of Southern California. Now, this idea of conservation is very important because in the segments we're showing you things, we're dealing with thriving life, the baby birds, the seals and stuff. But at the end, we want to bring something to your attention that we should all be concerned about, and which ties us into why we need something like the Alta Sea, as well as the aquaria that we have at the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. Then we're going to see a segment with myself welcoming folks to the island, talking about a little bit of island. It's just a little brief clip. One of the guests on the boat said, "You ought to be in the picture as well." So I've let you know I was there, so you're going to see me as well. And then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the Alta Sea and the implications of what we noticed when we were out there trying to fish for sharks and what our concern is about this. So we just showed a little segment of myself, and then we'll come back and sort of tie these segments of the Connor Bubble together and how we want you to get involved. Okay, as you can see that we've been showing you a lot of very exciting things, the life seen to be abundant in the area, but there's an area of caution, an area of concern we want to bring to your attention. While we were out, we were intentionally trying to attract sharks so we can show the many people on the boat what the sharks look like and this kind of thing, so to describe certain sharks. So we had chum. It was menhaden milk, is like ground up fish meal, and we were just having it out, soaking in the water, trying to attract the sharks. And we did that for over 4 hours, and not a single shark came by. And the only fish that came by that had any interest in the chum that we were putting out were Pacific mackerel, another predatory fish. Now what this means is this: if we can't attract a single shark with all these hours of chumming, then that suggests that the number of sharks in our community, in our area, have been diminished tremendously. And that is an alarm signal that we should raise about our area in what's called the Southern California Bight. From Point Conception down to the Mexican border, I think we should have a great deal of concern. If we don't have these top predators around, that means that our ecosystem is in serious jeopardy. So we want to encourage conservation. And one of the ways that we're trying to protect the marine environment, we have now marine protected areas along the 1,100-mile coastline of California. We're trying to set aside areas. It's really new, setting aside areas where people can swim, take pictures in there, but we can't take fish or shellfish out of the area to give a chance for these organisms to reproduce. And this trip on the 22nd of June demonstrated very clearly, and Mike and I were sharing our concern that why we couldn't find a single shark, and why were not more species coming to be attracted to all of the chum that we're putting out in the ocean. And so this is an area that we should all be concerned about. If our marine environment is in serious jeopardy, as this trip indicates, then we have to do something to change that. And even though we live on the land, 30% of the protein, animal protein we consume in the world comes from the ocean. And so if we are overfishing and taking too many organisms from the ocean, and we're polluting the ocean too severely, then this could mean it's a serious problem for us as a society and as a people and as a world. So we have to really consider doing something about that. And I think having the Alta Sea campus starting up in LA Harbor is going to be a really vital part and play a very important role in contributing to our better understanding of what's going on in our environment. And I'm going to encourage you even further that you should start looking and going to these various aquaria, like the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium, like the Aquarium of the Pacific, and going around, and like Birch Aquarium down in San Diego, part of Scripps Institution of Oceanography. Go to these different places, learn a little bit more. Also, I understand from my students that the California Science Center has now a very exciting marine display and kelp forest that they have across the street from the University of Southern California. So we encourage you to go to these different places. There's cost-effective, that you can go and learn something, and you'll find out every one of these centers, the ones I mentioned and the numerous ones I haven't mentioned, all along the coast are very much interested in working with you. USC has their center on the island of Catalina, and so they too have a lot of very exciting programs. I've told you before, I'm on the External Advisory Board for the CDEBI program. It's a National Science Foundation funded program at USC, and what they're doing is studying the deep sea organisms that are living below the sea floor. And they found, around the world, scientists have found living organisms 800 meters below the bottom of the ocean floor. Think about that. Every meter is approximately 3 feet. So you're talking about finding bacteria and things of that nature 2,400 feet below the bottom of the ocean. And this is something that's very significant. And this CDEBI program, that stands for the Center for Dark Energy Biosphere Investigation. They come out to schools and speak to schools and community groups at no cost to you. You get the latest information on research. You talk to some of the bright scientists that are doing research on the ocean, coming out of the USC program. I've worked with them for a number of years. I was a graduate of USC. Before I graduated, I created a science program called Sciential, and we work with over 2,000 urban kids from Fauché Junior High, Hillcrest Elementary School, taking them around, exposing them to science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine, what I call STEM squared. And we've been doing this and working with SC for a number of years. We first started working with SC back in '72 with a program called Sea Grant. And the Sea Grant program is like the land grant colleges, and in the land grant colleges is where they were trying to get the most use out of the land. During the 1800s, around the same time period, they also wanted to do that. 100 years after that, they wanted to do the same thing for the ocean, and they call what is called Sea Grant. And they're scattered around the country where people were involved in the ocean and sea exploration, research, education, are working together to better utilize our marine resources. Sea Grant program at SC is one of those programs of many around the country. We have one there, Sea Grant programs there, also at Cal State Long Beach, also at UC San Diego are very active Sea Grant programs. And so if you want to learn more about the ocean, that's another area that you can get. They have really good recipes about the seafood. So if you want to learn about seafood recipes, you can get in contact with the Sea Grant program, and they can get that information for you. When I was doing research back in Georgia, I got a lot of useful information from various Sea Grant programs around the nation, and you'll find them very open and cooperative. And you can find out about them, come and talk to your school program. If you're elementary school, they got speakers, middle school, high school, and college, and they have special college programs where students can go and do research on Catalina Island and get a small stipend in the process. So I have some students from PCC going there, participating in this. This is the third year that we've had students from PCC participating in the program on Catalina Island. So what we're doing here on this particular program called The Sea is just giving you a small glimpse of what's out there in terms of the ocean. And at the same time, encouraging you to get involved in the ocean exploration, ocean research, recreation, and things of this nature. I'm really a big advocate of the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium because I know the director. I've known him since 1983, Mike Schott. You'll find that they have a staff dedicated to educating the community. One of my former students also is a staff member, has been working there now for 7 years. Sylvia Saldano. She's worked with me on my Upward Bound program, Math and Science Upward Bound program, my NASA program, NASA Pre-College Science Program at Pre-College Science Program Academy rather at PCC, and so I'm really a big advocate of what's going on in Cabrillo. We go there every semester twice to collect trash and recyclables, and it's a really good teaching tool for students. One of the best field trips my students consistently speak of is going to clean up trash at Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. It's the kind of thing that many people may not think about, but as you go along the beach and picking up trash and recyclables, it gives you a chance to slow down, gives you a chance to see what's out there along the shoreline, things that you never noticed. You start seeing things that you bypass all the time when you go to the beach. You find out how much trash is actually put out there by your neighbors. And I want to introduce you to a particular idea that I mentioned to Mike Schad on the boat, and I'm calling it Take 5. And we're going to be promoting this program. It's called Take 5, which means when you go to the beach or go to a park, take 5 items away that you did not. Trash items could be small, and just pick them up, throw them in the trash. So take 5. If you take all of your trash out or throw them in the proper receptacles, and then look around and pick up 5 items that you didn't put down, but you know helps, keeps the cigarette butts away, keeps the cups, styrofoam cups, gets rid of those, or fragments of cups, paper wrappers. You find all kinds of things on the beach, but pick up what you want, any 5 items. This is what we're calling Take 5. And we're going to be talking more about this on other segments of the Counter Bubble, because if we can start protecting our environment, maybe we can do our small part to help the ecosystem to come back. And so we won't have a continual drain on the ecosystem as we have right now. We want to thank you for watching this segment of the Counter Bubble, which I call The Sea, and you have a fantastic day.
This is great. We're going to go on a walk through the isthmus to the other side of the island. It should be very, very interesting. So hopefully you enjoy the footage.
You gotta keep doing it.
All right. Thank you.
On a boat.
Thank you very much. You want to pull the poker out?
Or is it automatic?
It automatically focuses.